Hmm.
The Animated Anarchy series presents The Animated Showdown.
All right, what's up? Good afternoon, everybody, and Happy New Year. This is, of course, airing on New Year's Eve, 2025, about to come to a close. We're going to welcome in 2026. By the time New Year's hits tonight, our last show in 2025. By the time the New Year's hits tonight, who knows how drunk we'll be? Who knows what clothes we'll have on, if any, or, which one of Eric's Rugrats thongs he'll have on.
Well, I can't do all that because I have to work the next day. I have to work tomorrow.
Well, all right. Well, then Eric will be sober. All right. This is episode 20 of Animated Showdown, part of the Animated Anarchy series. I am, of course, from your host, Dutchie, joined as always by Money E.
What's up?
Wildcard Dave.
Hello.
And, of course, Sean is here.
What's up?
All right. So today's matches are Space Ghost versus Josie and the Pussycats, Denver the Last Dinosaur versus Jim and the Holograms, the Cleveland Show versus Futurama, 16's going to take on BRACEFACE, and the main event is Invincible versus Dragon Ball Z Kai. Space Ghost and Josie and the Pussycats are both in negative territory. If either one of them gets swept, then they will be in that bottom tier. Gem and the Holograms has the opportunity, if they sweep Denver the Last Dinosaur, to get into that upper echelon of shows. And 16 has the same opportunity if they can sweep BRACEFACE. So that is what we have to look forward to. All right. We're going to have the randomizers going to give us our categories here in a couple minutes. They're going to judge. If a show wins 3-0, 30 points. 3-1 is 20 points. 3-2 is 10. 5 for the loser. If you are swept, you lose 10. So we weren't necessarily too thrilled with how the categories were positioned in the last show. So hopefully we get a little bit better positioning. Can everybody see the screen here?
Yep.
All right, one hit. And we got, well, it's all new categories except for one, or except for two. But Eric, how do we feel?
Merch and cultural impact.
Huh?
Merch and cultural impact.
No, they're not on here, Eric.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay.
All right, Eric, how do we feel?
So-so.
All right, Dave, how about it?
I'm okay with it. I'm definitely okay with it.
All right, Sean?
I like it. I think it's a good diverse list of categories.
I think this is the better positioning of categories that we've gotten in a while.
Yeah.
All right, we got a theme song.
Yeah, at a point where we could probably get to it.
No, we will get to it because it's the third one.
Yeah. So it could be make or break for a lot of shows here.
Yep. Especially the first one.
Yeah. But yeah, so how do we feel not having merch or not having merch as a category?
Happy.
I like it.
Pretty awesome.
I'm glad voice acting is first too, and not like a deciding category. That makes
I mean, I've always felt like theme song should always be the first category, but that's not usually how it goes.
yeah.
But it's in a good spot.
Yeah.
It's in a good spot.
I think it's in the best spot because it could decide a sweep or it could decide
If a show's going
decide
on.
something. Yep. Or it could break a tie.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So we're going to start with Space Ghost versus Josie and the Pussycats. Space Ghost in the division of my aunt, Lisa Skelly. Josie and the Pussycats in the division of Derek Elstrom. Both 0-1, both negative 10 points. So we have, or I'm pretty sure Space Ghost is, I know Space Ghost is 0-1, but actually, yeah, I know for a fact that Space Ghost is at negative 10 points because they lost to Johnny Quest in stage 1, and Johnny Quest got 30 points. All right. So we start with the voice acting. By the way, both shows are Hanna-Barbera. Just figured I'd point that out there.
They also have a lot of overlapping actors for both shows.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because they used the
Yep.
same people back
I
then.
read that too.
Yeah.
Because it's same time frame.
Yep.
Like 60, like 66 into 70. So, all right, Dave, why don't you go ahead and start?
I gave this one to Josie and the Pussycats, to be honest. I just thought they had a little bit better dynamic with their voice acting. And that's all it really was. I mean, Space Ghost, it was kind of your classic superhero type of voice acting, with a little bit of comedic timing here and there. But I gave this one to Josie and the Pussycats because it was a little more dynamic voice acting to me.
Okay. All right, Sean, why don't you go ahead and go?
Yeah, I also had Josie and the Pussycats. Like Dave said, I thought they were just more dynamic. They were a little more clear, less kind of boring. They weren't as boring as I probably should put it.
Okay.
Yep.
Just pretty well done, pretty clear. A lot better than Space Ghost, in my opinion.
All right. Eric, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going with these guys. It just was more it was less boring. I'll put it that way.
All right. Character development is up next. Josie and the Pussycats, 2 away from a sweep. Character development is up next. Who had the better character development? Sean, you're going to start.
This one was a hard one, but I gave it to Space Ghost. I think there's just slightly more character development. I think Josie and the Pussycats kind of was just a set and solid character line.
Yeah.
And Space Ghost had room and potential for character growth, and they showed some, but I don't think Josie and the Pussycats had much of any.
Okay. Eric, you're up.
I don't think either one really had character development, but if I had to pick one, it's Space Ghost. Just slightly. I thought
Alright.
they had potential for development, as Sean said.
Okay. And Dave?
Yeah, I would have to agree with these guys. I went with Space Ghost here. I believe they had a little bit more character development here. Both Josie and the Pussycats, I feel like their characters more static. They are who they are, and they don't really change. They have like relationship development, but besides that, their characters don't really develop to me.
Right. All right.
Yep.
Well, there's going to be no sweep.
Exactly.
Nobody's going in the bottom of the barrel. We're tied 1-1, and we're going to go to theme song, a category we have not talked about in a while. So, Dave, why don't you go ahead and go?
I went with Space Ghost here. I like the jazzy space kind of funk that they had going on there. I enjoyed that. So
Yeah.
I thought they did a pretty good job there.
Yeah. And by the way, I think Josie and the Pussycats theme song was kind of annoying.
I agree.
But Eric, your hand
No.
was raised, or at least one finger was. We don't
Yeah,
have to
no,
listen
I'm
to
going.
Go ahead.
I didn't like either one, but if I had to pick, it's slightly JOSIE and Pussycat. I
Okay.
just thought it had a little more rhythm.
All right. Sean, he's definitely getting back at you for messing with him the other day. We're 10 minutes in. You got to break a tie.
I also have Space Ghost winning this one. Their team sounded a little more catchy, and Josie and the Pussycats just after a while, like after the first time you hear it, you don't really care to hear it again. Space Ghost,
Ain't that the truth?
I should listen to Space Ghost a couple of times, but Josie and the Pussycats is just kind of ear clenching. I don't know how to put it, but
No, I understand what you're saying. All right, so Space Ghost is up 2-1. They can win it in the next category, get themselves 20 points, get themselves out of the hole that they're in, and at least end up on the positive side as far as points go. Animation. Both shows are Hanna-Barbera, like I said. Both shows same time period, but who has the edge in this one? Eric, you're going to start.
I slightly liked JOSIE and Pussycat slightly better. I just thought it was a little more cleaner and more just slightly better.
Okay. All right, Sean, you're up.
I have Space Ghost taking this one. I thought the animation was just cleaner. Josie and the Pussycats was kind of like dull to me. It looked more like flat animation than anything. And I think the Space Ghost had a little bit more like care and the attention to detail and didn't try to rush as much and didn't overcomplicate as many scenes as they needed,
Yeah. All right. Dave, you're breaking the tie here.
Yeah, and I went with Space Ghost here. I think Alex Toth's superior design work was really good. It also, I feel like, was more visually appealing, in my opinion, and it had more of a cohesive look to it.
All right. So they're going to win 3-1. Josie and the Pussycats is not losing points. They're going to stay at -10. But Space Ghost gets out of the -10 territory, and they go now to 10 points. So they are on the positive side. Next up, it is Denver the Last Dinosaur versus Gem and the Holograms. Gem and the Holograms has the opportunity to get into that upper echelon. They've already swept Josie and the Pussycats, ironically enough. They are 1-0. Denver the Last Dinosaur is 0-1. They went toe-to-toe, and I know Dave still can't believe this, which is why I'm saying it. They went toe-to-toe with Bleach.
Wow.
So, but they are 0-1. They have 5 points. Denver the Last Dinosaur in the division of Patrick Lehman. Gem and the Holograms in the division of my cousin Jacob Hummer. So we start with voice acting. Who had the better voice acting? Dave, you're going to start.
I went with the Denver the Last Dinosaur. It was more laid back, a little more positive to me. Gem and the Holograms was like super high energy, which isn't terrible. It just wasn't for me. They had their music stunts and whatnot too, but I went with Denver the Last Dinosaur. I liked how it was more laid back. It wasn't like, so poppy. And I like that.
Okay. All right. Sean, why don't you go next?
I put Denver and the Last Dinosaur on this one. I didn't like Gem and the Holograms voice acting. It was just, I don't know, it's kind of like what they said. They're too poppy. Like, I don't know if they like tried too hard to overemphasize stuff, but Denver and the Last Dinosaur was a lot more clear, a lot easier to understand, to me at least.
Fair
a little
enough.
more care in the world.
All right, Eric, go ahead.
I went with Dinosaur too. I just think the holograms was just too high pitched and too yeah. I just didn't like that.
All right, they're up 1-0. Gem is not going up into the upper echelon.
Thank God.
No, Eric, that's sexist.
Oh,
It doesn't matter that we're all thinking it, but you had to be the one to say it. So, ladies, write your letters to him. All right. We move on to character development. Who had the better character development here? Sean, you start.
Well, I also gave this to Denver in the last dinosaur. I thought the show was just based off of, slight character development, and Gem and the Holograms was more, again, like you're kind of just given this character and you might see a little bit of advancement, but it's primarily the same. At least that's how I saw it.
Yeah. I mean, there are some story arcs in the beginning, like in some episodes, like there's the 5-part beginning of the show, and then there's like another 2-parter in there. So there are some story arcs to follow. But Dave, why don't you go ahead and go?
I actually went with Gem and the Holograms here. I feel like the constant conflict of her battling her dual identity as being like a normal person and the rock star. I feel like that development there is pretty significant, and it's constant. So I would have to give it to Gem and the Holograms here.
All right, Eric, you have the power.
I went with Dinosaur here. I just think there was more development there.
Okay.
I didn't see any development in holograms.
All right. So this is the first time in a while he hasn't agreed with Dave.
Yeah.
So, all right. Denver's up 2-0. They're definitely not getting swept. Theme song. This could decide it here. 2 theme songs with words, 2 catchy theme songs. By the way, Gem is a musical show, by the way. But you both have catchy theme songs. I personally like one better than the other, but it's not up to me. Eric, it's up to, well, you're the first one going.
Yep, I did like both of them, but I slightly like Dinosaur slightly more. I thought it was more catchy.
Okay. Sean, why don't you go?
Yeah, I'm sticking up with Denver, the last dinosaur here. I thought their theme song was slightly more catchy. Both were pretty good, but I like Denver a little more.
Okay. All right, Dave.
Yeah, I agree with these two. It had a catchy jingle. I like the guitar riffs that are in it. So I went with Denver, the last dinosaur here.
Okay.
Is that the one that you were thinking of, Doug, too?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
It's kind of a top 10 song for me.
Yeah.
All right. So Denver gets the sweep. By the way, it's happened
10?
a couple.
Which one's a top 10 song for you?
Denver.
Okay.
I think I even mentioned that. When they went up against Bleach, because I had Denver win the category in that one too. I don't know if you were, because I remember saying it. I don't know if you were paying attention, and I think you were too busy ordering the hit on Sean and I.
I might have been. Might have been. Chose not to, though,
Yeah. I appreciate that. But, no, Denver's always been just very, very catchy, and it's in my top 10. So, by the way, this is not the first time that the show that that had the opportunity to get the sweep and move up to the top is the one that got swept. It happened just a couple weeks ago with Blue Exorcist and Bleach.
Mm-hmm.
Blue Exorcist had the opportunity to move up to the upper echelon, and they got the hell beat out of them.
Yeah.
So, So Denver gets 30 points. They're at 35 points now. And we have Gem and the Holograms. They lose 10, so they go to 20 points. So, all right. Up next, we have the Cleveland Show versus Futurama. The Cleveland Show 1-0 over with a victory over Tom and Jerry. They have 20 points, and they are in the division of Joshua Allen. And Futurama 0-1, no points. They are in the division of, or I believe they have no points. They either have no points or they are at, they may have been swept already. I'm not sure. But they are in the division of Dave's sister, Allie. So let me just give this a quick look over. Yeah, Futurama is just 0-1. They have 0 points. So, all right. Let's start with the voice acting. Who had the better voice acting, Dave?
I'm going with Futurama here. They've received multiple awards, like Emmy and Annie awards. The Cleveland Show hasn't. They've been kind of, critically accused for their voice acting not being that great. That's one of the things about the show that has their weak point, I believe. And so I gave this one to Futurama. I think they did a really good job with their characters.
Okay. All right, Sean.
Yeah, I went with Futurama here. I think the voice acting was very captivating. Really drew you into the show and got you intrigued with all the different characters and you kind of know who they are. They did a very good job of becoming that character they're depicting.
Yeah.
And the Cleveland Show, I just felt like you already know these voices already, from previous shows, and kind of throws you off a little bit because it reminds you of somebody else from a different show. Futurama sticks to their themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. All right, Eric?
Yeah, these guys convinced me. I was going the other way, but they convinced me, so I went Futurama.
All right. By the way, the voice of Fry is also the voice of Stimpy and the original voice of Doug, Billy West.
Oh.
So, all right. Character development is up next. Futurama up 1-0. Character development. Who had the better character development, Eric?
I have Futurama. I thought there was more development in. Yep.
All right. Dave.
Yeah, I went with Futurama here. I feel like it had more consistent continuity. I feel like these characters developed over time, and there's a story that they go through, if you watch it in order. So I think their story leads for more character development, where the Cleveland Show, it's kind of like a sitcom. They kind of, after the episode, they kind of go back to their prior self. Even if they do develop some in a certain episode, the next episode, they kind of go back to what they were. And so for that reason, I'm going with Futurama.
Okay. All right, Sean?
Yeah, I went with Futurama. Honestly, I thought both shows were more of a episodic of character development, but Futurama did more of the continuity of it. Unlike the Cleveland Show that kind of reverted back to their normal ways every episode. So I went with Futurama.
All righty. They're up 2-0. One more, and they sweep. And it's theme song. Who had the better theme song, Sean?
I went with Futurama. I like the theme song all the way around. I think, to me, the Cleveland Show just reminded me too much of Family Guy, of how it was done. It kind of mimicked it. And Futurama kept it more sci-fi and drew your attention to the screen.
Right. All right. Eric.
I went with Cleveland Show. I just liked it better, and as Sean said, it kind of did remind me of Family Guy. That's the reason why I did move it.
Okay. Fair enough. Dave, you're breaking a tie. Go ahead.
Yeah, I went with the Cleveland Show here. I thought it was more catchy, in my opinion, and I kind of liked the theme song they had.
All right, they're not getting swept. So
Kind of made me dance.
Take a video.
Cleveland Brown.
Hold on, we gotta watch the copyright here, because Fox will look for any reason to make.
Hey, I said 2 words.
I'm just saying, is it
I get it.
Yeah. All right. So Cleveland Show's not going to get swept. We don't know if they're going to get any points out of this at all, but they are. They will not get swept, so they're at least going to, they're not going to lose anything. We move on to animation. Who had the better animation, Dave?
I'm going with Futurama here. They have good sci-fi-y kind of backgrounds. I feel like they have more detail within their show, with all the world building, different creatures, different people that are around them, and they're all detailed really well, and they have fluid character motion as well, and it's very consistent, and they have action scenes and all that too, but I feel like the Cleveland Show, it's kind of similar to Family Guy, and that's just what it will be and always will be. I feel like it's a little lesser than Family Guy's animation, in my opinion. And it's just that regular, traditional 2D animation that's not the greatest, but it's good for its purpose.
All right. Eric, you had your hand up earlier, so I'm going to let you go next.
Yeah, I'm going with Cleveland Show because Futurama the anime is not my style, so I just like Cleveland Show better.
All right, Sean, you're breaking a tie, and this is important because this decides whether or not we go into round 5.
Yeah, I went with Futurama here. Their animation style is so much better. I think the Cleveland Show is just kind of like a generic, boring, animation.
All right.
Futurama is more sophisticated. A lot more detail into the characters, a lot more thought into the characters.
All right. So Dave, I actually think, and I gotta go back and I gotta look at this here. So in stage 1, your sister Allie, none of her shows won at all. She went winless.
Yeah.
Stage 2, Afro Samurai and Futurama have both gotten wins. So she's battling back.
She's trying to.
Yeah. So
What happens?
Comeback story right here. All right. Futurama wins at 3-1. They're going to get 20 points. Cleveland Show's not going to get anything.
Now, Doug, is there any show that went?
Huh?
Is there any division that went sweep that it's going downhill?
No, Liam's not going downhill.
Okay.
He has won most of his so far. So
Yeah, I was just curious if there was one that got swept.
I mean, there's a division that started off really hot in stage 1, and they're cooling off pretty good. And we'll get to that,
Okay.
and we'll get to that in a little bit.
Okay.
But all right. Up next is 16 versus Braceface. 16 in the division of Raven Finley. Braceface in the division of Becky Elstrom. Braceface 0-1, no points. 16, 1-0, 30 points. If they sweep and get 30 more, they're going to be in that upper echelon. Oi. Voice acting is the first category. Eric, you're going to start.
I went with 16. I thought the voice acting was slightly better, just more cleaner. in my opinion.
All right. Dave, why don't you go?
Yeah, I went with 16 here as well. I thought they had more of like a natural timing and delivery. Um, and I thought they played their characters well. Um, and they really defined their characters of how they acted and, how they were. Um, where like I do like the emotional range that Braceface has with Alicia Silverstone. I thought
Yeah.
she played really well. But besides that, I thought the surrounding cast wasn't that great.
Right. All right, Sean.
Yeah, I also had 16 on it. Their voice acting was a lot more manageable to deal with for me than BRACEFACE.
Okay. All right. They're up 1-0. They're 2 away from a sweep. We move on now to character development. Who had the better character development, Sean?
I'm sticking with 16. I think they did a better job between their characters. I think it was
All right.
more like, yeah, I don't know, just better in my opinion.
Okay. All right, Eric.
I went with 16. I thought there was more development there. With, there's more characters to that can develop.
Okay. Dave.
I went the opposite way here. I thought they had a little more development with like going on issues like eating disorders, divorces, trying to fit in with, the people around you and, bring in kind of like the inclusion of LGBTQ as well. So I thought those growth elements were pretty significant. 16, I feel like, it was more like, it was relatable growth, but it was like navigating your everyday jobs at the mall and whatnot in like friend relationships. So I thought Braceface did a little more on the emotional side of character development.
Okay. All right. 16 is up 2-0. They're 1 away from the sweep. But we move on to theme song. Who had the better theme song? Both had words. And both were, I mean, it depends, on what your taste in theme song is. Some people, I'm sure, found both theme songs kind of catchy. Dave, you're going to start.
I'm going with 16 here. I like its feel good type of vibe that it has, and I enjoyed it.
All right. Sean.
Yeah, I had to stick with 16. I enjoyed that theme song a lot more than BRACEFACE.
Okay.
A lot better job. Way better job out of it.
All right, Eric.
Yep, I'm going 16 here. I just thought it kind of brought you into watching your show. In that way.
All right, 16 gets the win, 3-0. They get the 30 points. They're up in the upper echelon.
I have a question, Doug.
Yeah,
Mark,
go
did
ahead.
you put these two shows up against each other because they're both Canadian made?
That had something to do with it, yeah.
Okay.
There was a little bit of method to the madness, bit of method to the madness in putting them together, yeah.
Okay. I like that.
I thought the reason was because they're both like teenage shows.
That had a little bit to do with it too.
Yeah.
In my opinion, they were both similar. So.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, that's why you did it.
All right, so 16 is now one of 6 shows in the upper echelon. Those other shows include Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Muppet Babies, Mighty Ducks the Animated Series, Magic School Bus, and as of this past Saturday, Alf the Animated Series. And I'm sure when you think of upper echelon, those 6 shows come to mind.
I think only Ninja Turtles and Muppet Babies.
And some people would probably say Magic School
And
Bus
Mighty
as far as educational shows go.
Yeah.
Some people may say Magic School Bus. All right, we move on to the main event. It is Invincible versus Dragon Ball Z Kai. Invincible 0-1, but they have 5 points. They're in the division of Sky Z. Dragon Ball Z Kai 1-0, 20 points in the division of Kenny West. Now, Kenny West division, which also includes Batman the Animated Series, Juniper Lee, and the Smurfs, he had one of the higher overall point totals in stage 1.
Yep.
Stage 2, his shows have just not done good.
And didn't Batman get beat by the other Dragon Ball?
Yeah, they got beat by Dragon Ball Z.
Yep. Which is ironic.
We're not going to get into that.
No, I don't.
But yeah, Juniper Lee lost. The Smurfs got swept. So it has not been a good stage for Kenny West. We'll see if Dragon Ball Z Kai can fix that. We start with voice acting. Who had the better voice acting, Dave?
I'm going with Invincible here. I think they had a star-studded cast, including like J.K. Simmons, Sandra Oh, Mark Hamill, and some other significant voice actors as well. The Dragon Ball Z, its dub version is kind of, it divides fans because they don't think it's as good as it should be compared to the original voice acting to it.
Right.
So for that reason, I gave this to Invincible.
All right. Eric, why don't you go next?
I'm going with Invisible too. I thought it was slightly better and more clear.
All right. Sean, what say you?
Oh, I went with Invincible. I think their voice acting is top notch compared to Dragon Ball Z. Like Dave said, it's star-studded.
All right. All right, so everybody's going to go Invincible on here. All right, Invincible is up 1-0. So we move on to character development, and Sean, we're going to start with you.
I'm sticking with Invincible here. I think the vast majority of characters that are in the show have their own little storyline going, and I just think the foreshadowing of certain characters and just the dynamic of other certain characters is just amazing. So, Invincible for me.
All right. Eric, go ahead.
I went with Dragon Ball here. I thought there was a little more development with the characters. I think Kai.
All right. Dave, you're breaking a tie.
This one was close for me. This one was actually kind of tough for me to decide because they both have extreme development on certain areas. But I went with Dragon Ball Z Kai here. You got Vegeta's arc where he's like an anti-hero or like the villain and he becomes a hero. You got Goku's consistently getting stronger, powering up. When he goes Super Saiyan, the power development that these characters have is out of this world. And one of the most memorable, seeing Goku go Super Saiyan, it stopped everything around you. Where Invincible, I feel like they did more deeper, like moral complexity type development, but these guys were all powerful to begin with. There wasn't a huge development in their strength or abilities, where in DBZ, I feel like they had more of that.
All right. 1-1. Nobody's going to get swept here. So this could be one of the more closer battles. Theme song is up next. Who had the better theme song, Dave?
Main event.
I'm going with Dragon Ball Z Kai here. The song Dragon Soul is awesome. It's a nice high energy type of rock song. I thought it was pretty catchy and I like it. It's It's cheesy, but it's nice.
Okay. All right, Sean.
Yeah, I went with Dragon Ball Z kind of here as well. Song's amazing. I think it fits the dynamic of the show pretty well. Gets you going, you know.
Yeah.
Invincibles is pretty good too, but I don't think I mean, it fits the show, but at the same time, it kind of feels like it doesn't make sense for that type
Right.
of.
It makes sense to a point.
Yeah.
All right, Eric.
It doesn't matter, but I'm going the opposite because I slightly like that better. But I love both of them.
Okay. All right. 2-1 Dragon Ball Z Kai. They can win it in the next category, which is animation. Who had the better animation style, Eric?
I have Dragon Ball Z. I thought their animation was slightly better and more cleaner, and I thought both of them were good, but Dragon Ball Z takes it here.
Okay. Sean, you're shaking your head. Do it.
Yeah, I went with Invincible here. I think their animation, being so up to date and recent, is superior to Dragon Ball Z Kai. I think also what helps their animation is the fact that they're allowed to do the gore to a crazy amount. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially, the gory scene where Omni-Man just basically wipes the floor with that other superhero group at the end of episode 1.
Yeah, his team.
Yeah, so I gave it to them because they're allowed to push the boundaries that Dragon Ball Z never had the chance to.
Okay. All right, Dave, you're the deciding vote here. You get to decide whether or not we go to fan base.
Well, I'm going with Invincible here. I feel like it's more consistent. It's higher quality. It's more modern. It's a little more fluid with its action scenes. I thought they did a really good job. Nothing against Dragon Ball Z. It has great animation, but it can't compete with something up to date.
Okay. All right. So we finally go to a fifth category in a battle. They're both going to get points no matter what.
Yep.
Fan base is the final category here. Who has the bigger fan base? Dave, why don't you start?
Going with Dragon Ball Z here. I feel like its fan base is massive, multi-generational, and it's an enduring fan base that loves this show. And,
Yeah.
they have passion towards it. And,
it's part of that Dragon Ball franchise, by the way.
Yep. That I do recognize. And nothing against Invincible. I think they do have a great fan base, but I feel like the Dragon Ball Z fan base is just like so passionate about it. So I would go with Dragon Ball Z Kai here.
Okay. All right. Sean.
Yeah, I have Dragon Ball Z Kai winning this one. Invincible has a large fan base, but it's still a growing fan base.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dragon Ball Z has been like a steady, reliable fan base that doesn't really, differentiate because there's so many different Dragon Ball Zs out there. It's all like, one integrated group. But over time, maybe Invincible does overtake them. You never know. I mean, it is a great series, but every great series still has to come to an end.
Right. All right. Eric?
I went Dragon Ball Z. These guys said it all, so it's Dragon Ball Z. So yeah.
All right. So
said it all.
Dragon Ball Z Kai gets to win 3-2. They're going to get 10 points, but Invincible's going to get 5.
Yep.
So Invincible,
that was a fun one.
Invincible is still racking up points, even though they're losing.
Yep.
So it still could very well help the division. Help them in their division, especially, if they can amass. I mean, win-loss record's also going to help. They're also going to count too, but they're at least racking up points here. So, all right.
I have to say that was one of the more fun matchups we've had.
Well, yeah, because it was close.
Yeah.
So,
I agree.
all right. So now we got a lot coming up, including this upcoming Saturday on Animated Hour Power. It's going to be episode 21. Sean will not be with us on Saturday. He will be at a Bandits game. I almost said Bisons. But we're going to have Bob the Builder versus Paw Patrol, Claymore versus Redo of Healer, Jimmy Neutron takes on Total Drama Island, and in the main event, it's going to be the Looney Tunes versus Rocky and Bullwinkle. Now, Sunday, we just decided this just a couple days ago. Sunday, we are going to do a special called Family Fight Night. It is going to be this Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And it's basically Family Fight Night. Let me just explain it. So what I did was I matched up cartoons against each other, and the people whose divisions they're in are family members. So like it'll be like Dave's sister versus Dave's wife, Sean's mother versus Sean's wife. I believe I have my sister is going up against my cousin. My brother is going up against my aunt. But here are the matches. It's going to be Flintstone Kids versus Doug, which is the Fed check battle. By the way, that's Sean's last name. We have Wacky Races versus Speed Racer. By the way, that's a husband versus wife battle. Spy Family takes on Hunter Hunter. Another husband-wife battle. Super Mario World takes on Tailspin. That is a uncle-nephew battle. In the battle of cousins, by the way, these are people that are running, that have these divisions. Beetlejuice takes on Real Ghostbusters. Here's going to be an interesting one. It's going to be Sailor Moon versus Batman Beyond.
Ooh.
We're also going to have Cowboy Bebop take on Sword Art Online, Alicia Zatin. And the main event is going to be Adventures of the Gummy Bears, which is Dave's wife, taking on the Jetsons, which is Dave's sister. So, and by the way, the Sailor Moon Batman Beyond, that's going to be a battle between two brothers. The Cowboy Bebop versus Sword Art Online, Alicia Zatin, that is a nephew going up against his aunt. So yeah, so a family fight night, or technically family fight evening, because it's gonna be Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern. Animated.
No, my brother's not in this one, right?
No, because you don't have any other family that agreed to do this.
Yeah.
Animated Showdown on Wednesday, or next Wednesday. Steins Gate versus Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law. Beavis and Butthead versus Action League Now. New Kids on the Block versus the Pirates of Dark Water. Rick and Morty the Anime versus Assassination Classroom. And Danny Phantom takes on Jackie Chan Adventures in the main event. So that is what we have coming up. Like I said, there's a lot coming up. A lot of big battles. A lot of shows, by the way, that can get into that upper echelon or head down to the bottom of the barrel. We saw a couple more that happen this week. Of course, 16 now is up at the upper echelon. And make sure to like and subscribe to the When Tunes Combine YouTube channel. Join the Facebook group, facebook.com/group/When Tunes Combine. Also, make sure to like and subscribe to the Wrestling Through the Years podcast, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time every Friday night. like and subscribe to Eric's Unscripted Sports Show. You're going to find Wildcard Dave on Twitch at TCAX Godsent 95. Sean on Twitch at TCAX Reaper. Also streaming on Kick, YouTube, and TikTok. Like and subscribe to the Dizzle97 YouTube channel and Twitch. And the like and subscribe to the Stabcast with Daniel and Mindy. And with that, we will see everybody Saturday night.
Adios.
Later.